Okay, so I have this board just laying around, waiting for me to make it into something beautiful. So I'm going to use Vaseline and then paint over top of the Vaseline, which is not a new technique, it's been done. I didn't paint the edges because I'm going to cut this down. So I painted it with latex white paint, just plain white latex paint. It's probably a store brand. Oh, it's Valspar white. Anyways, I'm going to cut this down. We'll find the halfway point and make it into something beautiful and antique looking. So it is 27 7/8. So if I can't find a center point for that because I'm not good with numbers, I will So it took me a minute, but I finally came to 13 15/16. So, which is really unimportant to this video. The main thing that I tell you is when you get your board, you want to cut it down, so we want to have two pieces. So, for me, that's 13 15/16 right here and right here again. And then, you know, once you find your center point, and it can be slightly off, it doesn't have to be you know, right on the money. It's not like you're building a chair that someone's going to sit in. We're just making a sign. So I'm going to go use my saw, cut these down, and then I'll paint the sides. Okay, so I did notice that my board was bowed before I cut. I didn't mention that. Okay, so this, I've had this mat for, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, and I melted it with the iron one time, so it doesn't lay flat. And I keep the parchment paper under it so that the paint don't stick to the paint don't stick. Yeah, see, these were a little bit warped, but you know what? It's just sitting around. It's just been sitting here. My husband, you know, cut down wood to make this table, and this one didn't make the cut. So, you know, it's just sitting around collecting dust. I might as well make it into a picture of some type. So I want the, you know, the bad spots to make it look more old, because it's not an old board, it's actually new. Okay, so I'm going to finish painting this, and I did a sloppy job painting because I'm going to be painting over top of this. So I'm going to wipe some Vaseline on it and then paint it. I see my brushes are very well used. I just cleaned these off with acetone. It makes the bristles so soft. But I use an old spaghetti jar. Prego, I believe. Yep, and I keep a little bit of acetone in there, and then keep the lid on it tight, that way it doesn't evaporate. But for latex paint, it's not really water soluble, so you want to keep some acetone handy. Anyway, see all my saw marks here. None of this is going to matter because it's just going to add to the an old piece of wood look. So anyways, I can't really get too much with my camera here where you're going to be able to see it, but I'm just wiping paint on it. I'm not doing a great job, just trying to make it look old. So it's going to get covered by a color that I mixed together myself. I used some seafoam green, which I had mixed up at Ace Hardware, and I mixed that with so that's a latex. I mixed that with an acrylic, I believe it's apple barrel wintergreen. So seafoam green and wintergreen give it this really the old appliance color. It needs shook up, but it gave it an old greenish color. And I'm going to shake the crap out of them before I go to use them. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. After this dries, I'm going to use Vaseline and spots, and then use my seafoam green color mix to paint these and make it look antiqued. Hopefully that's what it turns out looking like. So I'll see you in a few. Hey everybody. Hey, I did a boo-boo and lost some of the footage. That's me. That's what I do. I thought maybe I deleted it, so I looked in my recycle bin and it's not there. So I actually made this sign in November of 2021, and I don't know what happened to just the footage where I put the Vaseline on the white paint. So after you get your base coat down, you're going to take whatever you want to use. You can use your finger. I used a piece of paper towel, and I scooped into the petroleum jelly, and I used the Dollar Tree brand, the Dollar Tree, and I took that paper towel and I scooped in there, got a little bit, and then rubbed it, all these areas where you see white, I rubbed that on there. I tried to pay close attention to the edges, the spots, where the screws or nails had been in this board, and it turned out really, really nice. But here's where I made my humongous mistake, and later in this video I'm going to tell you it was from mixing latex paint and acrylic paint together, which was causing the problem. The simple fact of the matter is I did not get all the Vaseline or the petroleum jelly. I keep calling it Vaseline, but it's petroleum, just petroleum jelly. Vaseline's really expensive the last time I looked, but the Dollar Tree, of course, is $1. But anyways, I just, quite frankly, did not get it all get up all the paint that was on top of the petroleum jelly. So, since I did this, I found someone else, and I have no idea who it was, took pieces of tape after they their top coat paint dried. They took pieces of tape and they put it on and they pulled it off, and it would take up all the paint that was on top of that petroleum jelly. And I just didn't get it up. So here I had trouble with the R's. Oh my goodness, did I have trouble. I put Mod Podge down thinking that was going to help, and I Mod Podged and let that dry, but that just pulled the Mod Podge up too. So it still didn't dawn on me what had happened, but that's what happened. I didn't get up all the paint from the that was on top of the petroleum jelly. So I think you use the tape method, or you can use a scraper. A scraper would have been good. It would have taken up a lot of that. You just be careful not to scratch into your your bottom coat, but not to scratch it all up. But anyway, this turned out really good, even though it's a defect. but I really had a hard time getting my lettering on there, and it's because of not getting the petroleum jelly off. So I apologize for that. And, if you're watching this, I really appreciate you. I really do. I hope you'll hit like and subscribe and come back for more. I make plenty of mistakes. You can learn from my mistakes. So, anyways, I hope you'll come back. Thank you. Okay, so this is where I just barely placed my fingers. It's already coming up. So, this has been setting overnight. I'm just going to take some paper towel and just kind of rub it. And rub that where the Vaseline was. It's going to come right off. Or it should, anyway. The spots where I barely put any, I say Vaseline, it's petroleum jelly. Same thing, right? I don't know. Just not the name brand. I use the Dollar Tree. Because petroleum jelly in the name brand is expensive. Okay. Looks like I did more on this one, huh? Another way I've seen it done before is with a scraper. You use a scraper to pull that off. I didn't want any scrape lines on it, so I didn't do it that way. So if you don't move your paper towel, what collects on the paper towel wants to dump off on a different area. So anyway, this is real bumpy from where it had screws in it. So let's see that there. So I've woke up 2 days in a row with a sore throat. I don't know why. I don't have a fever or anything. I just have a sore throat. Just enough to be annoying. Just make sure that you get it all wherever you happen to put it. I'm using my fingernail now to scrape. Try up here. It looks like, it seems like I put a bunch more up here than what actually came off. And the edges here. Looking pretty good. So we want to make sure we get all the Vaseline off. I guess that's why people use a scraper, huh? Make sure that they get it all. I don't want it to look real sharp either. Yeah, I want it to look like it was wore down that way. This, I know I just put it on real light. So anyway, there's our sign. There's our sign. I'm kind of rethinking the green. So I got a little piece of 150 sandpaper just going around the edges a little bit. I know there's more Vaseline there than what came up. So from the last time that I quit smoking, I actually went back to smoking for a couple days and then quit again. So I had some issues with the vape pens, or the vape pen that I was using, and I just wasn't getting enough nicotine. The patches won't stay on. So, like I said, it was brief. I think I smoked for 2 days, and then I went back to quitting again. So I'm back to no cigarettes. I do cheat a little. I go over to the neighbors and visit with them. He gives me a cigarette. Just when I absolutely feel like I can't take it anymore, and to me it's good, because if I buy a pack of cigarettes, I'm going to smoke a pack of cigarettes. If he just gives me one cigarette, then I only smoke one cigarette. So it's a pack versus one, and if I go up and buy a pack, then I'm going to buy another pack and then another pack, you know. So this way it keeps me down to one cigarette. Okay, now you decide, you know, which way you want your sign to go. This way versus that way, another way, whatever. Then you're going to flip it over that way. Flip it over, even your sides up, and you want to get a staple gun and some rope, or a brad nail gun with shorties. This wood is not quite 3/4 of an inch. It's really close to 3/4, but a little bit on the shy side. So make sure your nails are less than 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go with this guy here. He shoots brads or staples, but I currently have staples in there. I have used it. I just have an extension cord up here that comes to me when I need it. So plug it in. I'm going to just unfurl one of these. Plug this baby in, and move the stuff out of it. Don't go away. And then you're going to decide how far apart you want your two pieces to be, or if you just want it to be together, you will, you can use your staples to hold it together. I'm going to have mine dangling a little bit. So I shall grab some rope, which is right here. And decide, how far apart do I want it to be. So one way you can do it is to go ahead and staple your piece down and then measure, but you want both sides to be exactly the same. So I'm going to go with a 1/2 inch here. Go with a 1/2. Do I want to go a 1/2 or do I want to go 3/4? I think a 1/2 inch will be good. So I want to go with a 1/2 inch, and it's seriously possible to keep the other side from moving. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go a little more than a ½ inch, and I'm just going to put this in here. Pull this down. So it doesn't matter what my measurements are, it's what you decide your measurements are going to be. Just make sure that they are even on both sides before you do anything. And this isn't permanent either. If you mess up, just undo it and redo it again. So, alright. It'd be a lot easier to put it down here on one side. And then get your staple gun. I don't see like an on-off on it. I've only used it a couple times, so you want to decide where at on the sign you want your. You'll be in the center. You can be at the sides. I want mine to be, you know. So then, once you put this first piece down, you're good. Then you'll measure how far off you are, and then make sure you do the same thing on the other side. I'm not sure what size staples I have here. I got tape on the end of this. On the end of this. Okay, I'm going to do it this time, I swear. I had tape on the end of my rope, and I took it off. So, I'm going to come in, you know, a little more than an inch. Now, another thing is if you have to make sure that your boards are even with each other. This one's a little bit smaller than the other one, but I think I have it about right. So anyway, make sure it's even, ready to go. And I'm not, oh, well, it helps if you turn it on. I didn't see an on-off on it, but I found out real quick. So anyway, let's try this again for the, we'll say, cherry and the staple gun. Take 3 or 2. And there it went. A couple pieces. Got the first one didn't go in all the way. So anyways, here's where you make sure that you're even. You got it where you want it as far as side to side goes. This top staple here comes right out. Hi Ruby. Oh, Ruby, she heard some noise. She had to come down to investigate. I don't think that one was in at all. Okay, so I didn't push down hard enough the first couple times to make sure that the staple actually went in. Alright, so now we cut her down. I just have my scissors out for my Cricut. Oh, yep, there they are. Then we want to cut this. Might be easier to cut a strip first. Okay, so now just make sure you're even, and then you want to come in at the exact same as the other side. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 1 3/8. So we'll do 1 3/8. This way. This way, and where'd my pencil go? See, uncoordinated. push up against my middle marker there. Put this down, push forward. I'm not doing this. Something's not right. Let me try this out first. I think. Here we go. Sometimes I get scared of things that make a lot of noise. It's the anticipation of the noise that gets to me. There we go. One more. I gotta remember to put my hand on the top of it now. Make sure that we're in here. It's the old one. Just want to come straight out of there. See? Another episode of what not to do. I don't know why that's stuck there. Like it is. Doesn't matter how many you put in. You know, as long as it's gonna hold. Just to make sure. Alright, so now we want to put a hanger at the top. So, I assume you would want rope up there. First of all, let me see if it hangs even. Yes, it does. This is how it's going to hang. So do we hang it with a small rope or a big rope? What do we do? I think I'll just put the big rope where the, you know, even up with the other, where the other rope is. Decide how much hanger do you want. I don't want like a bunch, but I want it to show. So on the cutter, put it about right here. These like I said before, these videos are very therapeutic for me. I'm going to make this stuff anyway. I might as well make a video. That's my thought on the whole thing. Even if no one watches, really. It's still very therapeutic for me. And of course, I turned off my thingamajigger first, and then unplugged it. So that way, when I plug it back in, it won't just come right on. I always hate that when someone leaves something on and you plug it in and you're unsuspecting. Okay, so now I'm going to do Cricut design. I don't have stencils. The stencils I do have are like huge, they're like poster board stencils. And I don't care much for using the ones where you have to use the, you know, the S, and then over here's the L, and then over here's the, I want something that, you know, you would stencil it across, and you know, you do it all in one shot. And I make a big mess with them anyways. So I went to my Cricut and I printed out Terry's Farmhouse and then it's going to have kitchen also, but I have to put the farmhouse down first so that I know how much room I have for the kitchen. It's going to say Terry's Farmhouse Kitchen. And I think my blade's getting dull on my Cricut because things that should be staying are wanting to come up. Yeah, my stupid lighting in here. It's terrible. Can't see. I get frustrated easily. Part of my medication, probably. Hopefully the... Oh no, what happened here? Get ripped. Oh no. Good thing this is just made for me. I don't know how it ripped. I went easy. Aggravating. Just aggravating. Just enough to aggravate me. I don't know if it actually ripped or it's some kind of a blister in the vinyl maybe. I'm not sure. Anyways, you're probably not going to be able to tell it when I get it put together. How aggravating. Could have been a lot worse. But it is what it is. Alright. I need to get some transfer tape and I'll be right back. I made it so that it would barely fit on there, the T. So the question is, when I put the curve on it, is my S supposed to be the same as this? I don't know. I think it looks good like it is. Oops. Flatten that down. Try to get the words without peeling up any more of my... Gosh, dog it. Wood and paint is always tricky. That's not working at all. I'm gonna have a hard time with this. This piece not even wanting to stick to that wood at all. And if you use not at all. So back to the old drawing board. It's always good when you have a giant mistake when you're recording. It's always wonderful. So I'm going to take, this is completely dry. It's been down here overnight. But I'm going to take some matte Mod Podge and put it down on the wood here and let it dry, and see if that helps. Of course, I'll do both pieces of wood. So I use these things until there's absolutely nothing left in them. They sit here upside down. Yeah, I'm not an artist, so I use this little fan brush to put on my Mod Podge. If I was an artist, I'd be like, oh my god, you're using that brush the wrong way. But alright, so I'm going to put the Mod Podge down, wait for that to dry, and hopefully that'll solve my problem. Alright, back for another torture session. See if this will work. I completely Mod Podged the whole thing. I don't think the S is supposed to be down all the way. Well, it feels better so far. Okay, so you saw the whole fiasco here. The only thing I can figure is the paint that I used, this one, was bad because it wouldn't stick. This would not stick to the paint, and then the Mod Podge didn't stick to the wood either, to the paint either. So when I did these, it peeled the Mod Podge up. That's what I had so much trouble with. Um, the the words actually stuck to the Mod Podge, but the Mod Podge just peeled up, and that's why. I mean, this isn't down. They're really terrible looking. One thing I did accomplish here was that it looks old and beat up. That's for darn sure. So what not to do? Mix acrylic and latex paint. That would be my only guess. I've never had trouble like this before. Lesson learned, and I'm still going to post the video just because. So what I'm going to do is the spots that didn't stick, I'm going to put some Mod Podge up underneath. But let's try this. Look at this. Do you like it? Even though it turned out really crappy. You'll never know that I didn't intend for it to look so bad. Probably. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Or what, if you know what happened. I have no idea what happened, why it turned out like it did.